No one expected this. Not after all the silence. Not after years of speculation, of subtle glances and quiet distance. But this time, it wasn't a rumor. It wasn't a fan edit. It was real. A single text message, sent late at night, deleted minutes later, but never forgotten. A message that was never meant to be seen. And yet, somehow, it found its way into the world. The internet is calling it the message that broke the king. But for those who know their story, it feels like something much deeper. A love too fragile to stay hidden forever. It began, as it always does, with a small leak. An anonymous source claiming to have seen a screenshot, one that appeared briefly in a fan's backup cloud storage. The message wasn't long, but the name at the top was unmistakable. Lee Min-ho. And beneath it, a single line that sent shockwaves through every fandom corner of the internet. I still think of you when it rains. I just wish I didn't. That was it. No emojis. No punctuation. Just a confession wrapped in restraint. And then, within minutes, deleted. But it was too late. Someone had already captured it. And the world was watching. At first, people didn't believe it. How could they? Lee Min-ho, the global icon of grace under pressure, would never send something so raw, so personal. But then came the evidence, the timestamp, the contact ID, the faint background of his phone wallpaper, matching an image seen in his vlog months earlier. And just like that, denial turned into heartbreak. Because if it was real, then it meant the story everyone tried to move past wasn't over after all. For Kim Go-eun, it must have felt like déjà vu. The world digging into her private pain again, trying to turn memories into headlines. She didn't respond publicly. She didn't need to. Her silence said more than any statement could. But insiders whispered that the message wasn't new. It wasn't sent yesterday, or even last month. It was years old. A remnant from a time when love still lingered. Just enough to hurt. Back when filming had ended, and they'd gone their separate ways, Lee Min-ho was said to have struggled. Behind the polished interviews and bright smiles, there was a quiet ache he couldn't shake. He'd look at her name in his phone and never type it. Until one night he did. It was raining. He'd just returned home after an exhausting shoot. The city lights blurred through the windows. The kind of night that used to make him call her. But this time he didn't call. He just typed. A message short enough to fit in a sigh. And then deleted it. But that moment, that fraction of vulnerability, somehow found its way into the world years later. Maybe by accident. Maybe by fate. Fans call it the text that never died. Because it survived deletion, denial, and distance. Just like the feelings it carried. When the message leaked, people revisited their old interviews. That moment in a 2020 press event when she laughed softly at something he whispered. That 2021 behind-the-scenes clip where he watched her walk away, just a beat too long. That 2022 award show where he clapped for her with an expression too tender to be rehearsed. Every frame now felt like evidence. Evidence that love, no matter how buried, leaves traces behind. What makes this story so painful isn't the leak itself. It's the timing. Because just weeks earlier, Kim Go-eun had been spotted at a film wrap party, smiling, glowing, seemingly free. She looked like someone who had moved on. And maybe she had. But then came the message. And with it, the ghosts of everything they never said. One fan wrote online, "You can move on from a person, but not from a feeling that never got closure." And maybe that's what this text was. A moment of closure that never reached its destination. Those close to Lee Min-ho claim he didn't intend to hurt anyone. He wasn't trying to reignite anything, or make headlines. It was just a moment of honesty. One he quickly regretted. But for Kim Go-eun, the message reopened a chapter she'd long since closed. Sources say she saw it before it was deleted. That her phone had lit up for a brief second. That she read it in silence. And that she, too, never replied. Imagine that. A message from the past arriving like a ghost, whispering everything you've worked so hard to forget. The kind of text that makes your heart pause. Not because you still want the person, but because for a moment you remember what it felt like to be wanted. That's what love does. It doesn't vanish. It hides in the spaces between words unsent. After the leak, both stars stayed quiet. No agency statements. No clarifications. Just silence. But then, something unexpected happened. Lee Min-ho posted a photo. A dark sky. Raindrops clinging to glass. No caption. And hours later, Kim Go-eun posted one too. A candle in a dark room. Her caption simply read, "Some lights don't come back. And that's okay." The internet went wild. Were they talking to each other? Were they acknowledging the message? Or were they both, in their own ways, saying goodbye again? But maybe that's what love after fame looks like. Never simple, never clean, always coated in metaphors and silence. A deleted text. A rainy night. A shared memory neither can fully escape. It's tragic, yes, but it's also real. Because love isn't always a fairy tale ending. Sometimes it's just a message you wish you could unread. For years, fans have said their chemistry felt too genuine to be just acting. That their connection went beyond the script. And perhaps it did. But love between stars like them is rarely allowed to breathe freely. Every glance becomes speculation. Every silence becomes scandal. And sometimes, to protect something pure, you have to let it die quietly. Maybe that's why he deleted the message. Not because he didn't mean it, but because he knew she deserved peace. Yet even peace can ache. When the world learned of the text, people didn't react with judgment. They reacted with heartbreak. Because everyone's been there. That one message you wrote, deleted, and wished you hadn't. It humanized them. Made them less like stars and more like two people caught between love and letting go. One fan wrote, "He didn't just delete a text. He deleted a memory." And maybe that's exactly what it was. An attempt to delete the past, even though the heart never really forgets. Days later, a journalist close to both stars revealed something quietly poetic. The message wasn't the only one. There had been others. Dozens of drafts, unsent, written late at night in moments of reflection. But only one was ever sent. The one she was never meant to see. And maybe that's why it hit so hard. Because it wasn't a performance. It wasn't PR. It was real. Insiders say the two have since reconnected, not romantically, but respectfully. A private conversation, away from cameras. No grand declarations. Just honesty. He apologized for the message. She forgave him for it. And that was that. Two souls closing a book they once wrote together, page by page. But fans refuse to let go of the magic they once saw. Because deep down, everyone wants to believe that love like theirs doesn't just disappear. That even in distance there's connection. That even in silence there's understanding. So maybe that text, though painful, was a bridge. A quiet reminder that love doesn't always end. Sometimes it just changes form. The message